Here's the new one. Just picked this one up. Literally just got it out of the back of the truck, onto the stands, getting ready to put in some work. This one is going to be a little bit different than anything we've done yet. I am going to paint it, but these drawers are solid white oak, right? The faces are solid wood of white oak. I'm going to paint this one a solid color, and I'm going to stain the drawers, and we're going to switch out the hardware. I am going to keep this hardware because it's actually not in terrible condition, and it's relatively modern enough I could put it on something else if I needed to. So I'm going to keep this hardware, and this one's going to be pretty easy, I think. So there are some deep gouge scratches up top here, but the top is a veneer, the sides are wood, the face is wood, and all the drawer fronts are wood. So we're going to do the typical scuff and shoot. We're going to get this one ready to spray, and what we're going to do on this one is the same thing we did on the last one. Okay, we're going to hit this with 120, and then we're going to come in and we're going to put Bondo and all these little deep gouges. Really, it's from here up. It looks like back here they had something sitting on it. I can see that the shine is different from here to here, so maybe like a radio or a TV or something. I don't know, but they had something sitting up here. So all the scratches are from here forward. So we're going to come in, hit it with 120, do the Bondo trick over top of it, get everything super smooth, hit it with 120 again, and 180 over the top. And we're going to get this thing super, super smooth. The sides, we're just going to do 120, and the front, the actual face of the body of the dresser, we're going to do 120 as well. There is a little bit of a crack right here. We're going to have to glue that, re-nail it, do all that to kind of close this up here. And then these drawers, let me see if I can pull one out. Come on. These drawers, see, I've already numbered them, so when I take them out, I know where they go. These drawers are dovetail construction. I don't know if you can see that, but back here, you see this wood grain here, that's white oak. That's good wood. So this is going to take stain very well. So when we go to prep these, we're actually going to hit these with 80 grit. We're going to get all this finish off of them. We're going to get them down to bare wood. So we're going to do 80, 120, 180, finish them off at 220, get them blown off, wipe them down with the mineral spirits, get everything out of there, let them dry, and we're going to stain these dudes a different color. So I'm really excited about this one. This one seems to lend itself that it's going to go pretty smooth. It's not a bad piece. Picked it up for 70 bucks. It's more than I wanted to pay for it, but you know, when you live in the times of the rich, or whatever we're in right now, you pay what you got to pay. So we're about to get started doing the sanding on this guy, and I preemptively took one of the knobs off. Let me show you how this is going to be a problem. So that's the hole. You also hear Charlie in the background. That's the hole for the screw. That's not the hole for the screw. That's a hole for an extra little nipple they put on the side of it so it doesn't spin. All right. So that we're going to have to either fill with wood filler and hope that it doesn't show through the stain where you got a nice little perfect circle, or on the second video, the green dresser that we did, I'm going to see if I can get those pulls in a black, because we're going to go black hardware on this thing. That's going to make this thing look really good. That pull will cover these two holes here. So I think that's what we're going to end up doing. I might still close it up with wood filler and sand it and hope it works just in case. But I'm going to take all these drawers out. I'm going to get started sanding. We're using our 120 on the top first, because we're going to come back and we're going to do some Bondo work on this thing. We got some rough edges here. I'm going to try to sand this down so I don't have to Bondo it. Make these edges a little bit softer all the way around. And do these rough spots that we have here. And it should be pretty quick. I'm going to pull all the drawers out. There's not much to this frame. I mean, you got these little insets here that make up the actual frame of the thing. That won't take very long at all, because we're just doing a scuff and shoot on the body. The drawers, we're going to sand all the way down to wood, and we'll do that in a little bit. I'm going to put this up. I'm going to get started sanding. Next time you see this thing, it's going to be all scuffed up. All right, we got our Bondo mixed up. So what we're gonna do, because remember with Bondo you don't have very long to work, I've got to take care of all this. So we're just gonna slather it on as much as we can get. And don't worry about the excess, because we're gonna come back with the bigger scraper, the bigger putty knife here, and we're gonna go over top of it. But we just want to get these holes filled. There's some more over here that I've marked. Some over here. Okay. We're gonna get all this. I might have to mix up 2, maybe 3 things of Bondo so we can get everything filled in here, because we got a lot of big gouges and scratches and all kinds of stuff on this thing, just everywhere. But if you look at my cardboard here, I'm already kind of almost out. But that's fine. We're going to keep going until we are out. And then what we're going to do is get our 3-inch putty knife. Make sure we got all that. And then we're going to come behind and we're just going to scoop up the excess. And you can see everything is filled in and it's nice and flat. And then we can grab that and keep going. Over here we got more. We got scratches all the way over here. Remember, you don't have a ton of time with Bondo. So when you're working, you gotta work quick. You know what I mean? Gotta go so fast. Make sure we get all these. I marked up a couple more over here. Scrape some excess. Put that there. Okay. Let's get our big guy again. We'll scrape the excess there, there. See, we're just picking up the stuff on the top. We're not picking up the stuff that's left in the little holes there that we needed to fill. And then we can get the rest of it here. Put it on. I'm trying to avoid getting down into that divot there that you see in the top. There's a little join piece right there where I don't want to get anything in there because it's going to be a pain to get out. Even if it is wet, it's still a pain. So a couple more little spots over here, here, here. You may be asking yourself, if you haven't seen any of these videos, why are we ruining this with Bondo? Well, we're not. We're cleaning it up. So all these gouges, they'll show up when you paint it. And that's what we're trying to avoid, because we are painting this top here. So when we get to the drawers, if there's any divots, we're going to have a little bit more of a hell of a time trying to get all that, because I got to make sure I have the correct filler that will blend in with that color, because we're going to be staining those. So that's a little bit of a headache when you got to worry about that stuff. Just drag some of this over here, all through that. Make sure we get all those. Got a pretty good one right here, but it's so close to the edge I don't want to hit it. But I think that's everything. I think that's all. Most all the divots. I think we got them in one fell swoop. We got a bunch of little ones, so let's scrape up what we can before we run out of time here, before this stuff completely sets up on us. And then we got a lot more sanding to do. Okay, got that. Get a little bit, yeah, it's already getting solid on us. So you can see the difference. It doesn't go on like pancake batter anymore. Now it's starting to go on a little chunky. So I think we are about used up over here. So let me scrape this off here. So clean up my edge so I can get all this stuff here, all this excess. So you see the dark blue spots, or I guess, the deeper spots here, that's where our Bondo was needed. So you can see where it's all filled in right here, see? So when we go back over it with sandpaper, we're gonna go over it with an 80, and then we're gonna go over it with a 120, and then a 180 final. And that'll get every little deep gouge, swirl mark, everything out of that. We may, depending on if there's still swirl marks when we touch it up with the mineral spirits, we may end up having to go 220 over the top just to make sure there's no swirl marks. Because the color that this is going to be, it's dark. It'll show up if it's dark. All our Bondo is done. Now I did what I said I didn't want to do, and I got some right there. So we got this whole top filled in all the way over here. I got both sides that needed attention, and then this front piece right here. The two side legs, this side and that side, they weren't that bad, so I just decided to leave those. There's a couple little divots or whatever, but they'll be fine. The majority of it was all right here, everything you see here. Yeah, I got that filled in there. So we're gonna let this harden. It's gonna take about 15-20 minutes, and then while that's hardening, what we're gonna do is go to the table back there, start disassembling the drawers, and see how that goes with some 80 grit, trying to get that lacquer off of there. Now I know I originally said I was going to keep these hardware, but after seeing that they have that little nipple on them, I don't know that I will, just because it's really hard to drill out for that with the spacing and all that. You have to know exactly where you're going with it. Now I may keep them and just grind that off with the grinder. Just get that smooth and flush, and if they spin, they spin. Doesn't really matter because it's not in my possession anymore. It's somebody else's. So I'm gonna put those aside just in case I decide to use them for something else one day. I'm gonna get these out of here. So you see what I mean? They kind of, let me get that out. So you have the screw hole and the not screw hole, and they just sit there, and once the screw's in there, they don't spin. So I'm gonna hold on to these. They're pretty cool, and I could grind that off and make it to where it works. And honestly, if you crank these things down hard enough, they won't spin anyway. So first things first, we have our 80 grit, then we have our 120, then we have our 180, and then we have our 220. So we're gonna go in that stage, and we're gonna do this top lip first. So if you're using 80 grit, it's really coarse and it will leave gouges in the wood. So that's why you gradually want to step up and do the 120, 180, 220. You could just jump to the 180. That should be able to fix any big gouges, and that 220 will kind of finish it off. But I want to make sure that we're doing this right, because the stain that we're going to be using on here it's going to be a pretty nice color, and I don't want any swirl marks. I don't want gouges. I don't want anything like that. So we will make sure these are completely smooth before we put these this color stain on here. So we're going to hit it with this 180 first. Let me get this out of here. We're just going to do this top lip so we can kind of see. I'm just going to do from about halfway over. And you can see it's already taken off that lacquer there. And we're getting a nice oak color popping through here. Just keep going. Like Dory said, just keep going, or whatever. So keep getting that done. We can get that edge later, but we just want to see this nice little section here, right? So there we go. We got our nice, let me get my rag. Got our nice oak section right here. You still see a little bit of that lacquer in there, but we're going to go over that with the 120. And that lacquer just comes right out. There's some right there on that edge. You see it disappearing. There we go. Okay, wipe it down again. So now it's smooth, but it's a little less smooth than it would be when we hit it with our 180. All right, let's get our 180 in here. See, you're still taking material off right there. And look at that. Now that lacquer is completely gone up there. Okay. So let's wipe this. Whew. We might honestly be able to stop there. That feels like a good, nice, super smooth. But for argument's sake, let's just try the 220 here. Okay. All right. That is perfect. That is amazing. So you see what you can do when you get started with your 80, do your steps up to 120, up to 180, up to 220. You get a nice, beautiful piece of wood right there. So once we get done with this, the whole thing, we're going to go over top of it with the mineral spirits and make sure we get all that sawdust out of there because we want those pores open. So you see the little bit amount that came off, but just imagine the whole drawer times 9. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get all of these drawers stripped down with the 80, 120, 180, 220. We're going to get them all down to bare wood so that they're primed and ready for us to do the stain. Okay, so let me show you all the little breakthrough I just had. I did that first drawer, got it all the way down, got all the sides, the whole thing down to just the bare wood. It took me about 30 minutes by hand. So I said I'm going to try something else because that's a lot of elbow grease and a lot of time. There's 9 drawers, 9 times 30. If I didn't stop, would be 270 minutes, which is also, I don't know, a long time. So I pulled out the old paint remover wheel, the paint eater from Wagner. I pulled this guy out to see how it would work, and did this side here, this bottom side, in about 3 minutes. Got everything down, well, down far enough, and then I hit it with 80 by hand, and then 120, and then 180. Got everything off of there. So I'm going to show you real quick how this is, and don't worry, I'm going to mute it. Okay, now that, if you rub across here, it leaves circle marks, and you can kind of see it in the stain there, where it's, because it's spinning this way, right? So it's going to leave circular marks. Not to worry, pull out your 80 grit. See, it just disappears, right? So like, it's rough because you're using 80. So you're going to finish up the whole thing just like that. Okay. Wipe that off. Get all the excess off. It's still pretty rough. You were using 180. You're going to come with your 120. Okay. Still a little rough. That's all good because we're going to hit it with your 180. There we go. Smooth, completely stripped. What was that? 2 minutes? So I think that's what I'm going to do for the rest of this thing. I'm just going to go ahead and use the little remover wheel there, and we're going to hit this whole thing, get everything, at least get the shine off, because the shine, I don't know if y'all can see it, but the shine that's in this thing is just killing the sandpaper. It's just gumming it up so fast. So if I could just take it over that and then let the 80 grip and just eat into it, then it'd probably go a lot quicker. But that's what was killing me before, was how shiny the lacquer that they put on here was. But on this one, I don't know if you can already see it, but I can see it. So here we got a divot right there, and then here we got like something was clawing at it. So We already got some spots that are going to be a little rough. There's another one down here. All this is just surface. It's not deep. But these two and that guy right there, that's going to be an issue. So we're going to hit it and we're going to see. Let's just try to remember where this stuff is, okay? So we can make mental note.
Okay, so I got my respirator on because as you can see, it's pretty dusty right here in your face level, you know. Okay, so we got all the good stuff knocked off. It took about lap time probably would have been about a minute and a half. Got everything knocked down. So here is our little claw marks. Here's that deep divot. Here's that other divot. So now we're gonna go ahead. Let me take this off for a sec. Hold
on. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the one, or we're gonna do the 80 grit by hand. Get all the rest of these dark spots knocked down. Pay attention to here, here, and here, and we should be able to smooth everything out. So get all these dark spots off. If there's a couple little dark spots left, that's fine. The 120 will take up after that. So let's do this part.
All right, let's focus on this guy right here. That's that little dark spot. There was a divot. Still a little divot there. That one's pretty much gone, but I feel like, so these are smooth. This guy's just barely there. So I think once we get done with the 80 and we come back with the 120 and the 180, those will disappear.
It's finally time to prime the body of this thing. And I don't know if you could hear it in my voice, but when I say it's finally time, I haven't touched this thing in 7 whole days. It's been a week. The night I started sanding down the drawers, I started getting a little something in the back of my throat. Woke up the next day, flu. So I had the flu all week last week, and then started getting back out here last night. I had 4 drawers I had to finish that still needed to get all the lacquer and all the stain and all that off before I could get this ready, because that creates so much dust. So much dust. I had to literally take the leaf blower and the air compressor and just everything out of here. So I've had to wipe this thing down again. I've had to blow it out several times, wipe it down again, get it ready to go. Gonna be rocking the respirator because that's the only way I can breathe. So I'm gonna put the respirator on. I've already got the prime mixed up, ready to go in the gun. It's draining into the gun right now from the filter. Got my air compressor ready to go. We're gonna lay down a couple quick coats of primer on this thing, call it good. And then we'll be back out here tomorrow to paint this guy. But while we're painting that guy, we're gonna be cleaning up these drawers, getting ready to stain those, because we're going paint, stain. So this one's gonna be real pretty. I think you're really gonna like it. So, all right, well, glad to be back. Let's get this thing covered.
right, so that's going to do it for tonight. That's about all my voice can take. Just breathing through the respirator is not really helping. I need that fresh air. But I do need to get this thing done. So we're going to let this thing sit overnight. It's going to cure up. It's going to set up. It's going to do everything it needs to do. We're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to hit it with 220 just to get that little texture that's going to be on there from spraying it, right? So we're going to get that off. We're going to hit that with 220, get that all sanded smooth. Then we're going with the top coat. I think you're going to like the color. I'll show you that here in a second.
It's paint day. I feel a lot better. Kind of. So, we're going to go ahead and get the top coat laid down on this guy. We've already wiped it down. I'm actually going to wipe it down one more time with a dry cloth. I see a little bit of linties left over kind of everywhere. Got to just get all that off or that's going to show up in the paint. So I'm going to wipe this thing down one more time. Paint's already in the gun, dripping, 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 ready to go. And we're going to lay down the top coat on this guy here. You're going to like this color. I'm going to show you right now. So when I say I go Benjamin Moore advanced line, this is what I'm talking about. This is the satin, and this is the 4 base. That's the deeper the base, the lower the number goes, the higher the number goes. So the 4 base, this one is black. So we're going to paint this thing black. It's going to be a satin black, and we're going to stain the drawers American walnut. And it's going to be a nice contrast with black hardware. This thing is going to be beautiful. So let me wipe this thing down. We can start spraying. We're going to do probably 4 coats of this stuff to get a nice, beautiful satin. Hope it works out. Okay, so we have our drawer fronts here. Well, actually, I got the whole drawer sitting here. I've already sanded everything down, and that was an endeavor. That was a lot of sanding to get everything down bare because it was a very thick lacquer that was on there. So what we're doing, we're staining the fronts with what color are we using here? Natural walnut is the color we're using. The original plan was I got some American walnut, which is a little bit darker, but when I put it on the first one, it came out damn red. Didn't want that. So I just did a quick drawer to see how this one looked, and I like the color on this one better, so we're gonna go this color. So this is a gel stain. This is the same stuff I used on video number 3, I believe. I do believe it was that one. It's a gel. It's not a wiping stain, it's a gel stain. So it gets everywhere. So as you can see, it goes on real
thick, and I actually put a lot on there because I didn't want to mess with it. So we're gonna get that all on there. Then I have another one I'm going by and wiping with, getting all the excess. So we're gonna wipe the edges here, the bottom, the side, all that. We're gonna get all this stained up right here to match. Now these are inset drawers, so they do sit inside the body of the dresser there. But when you pull them open, you're gonna see it. And I know it looks like crap right now. Just give me a second. Let me finish this little spot here. Let's switch up my rags. Let me get my wiping rag here. Let's go back over top of it, get all this excess off. And that is gonna be a beautiful color. Look at that. So yeah, we got a lot of excess coming off here, but give it a few little rub downs, all the spots. I'm gonna get all the excess off. Get everything wiped down nice and good. Now this is gonna take, overnight to set up. Should leave it for a couple days, but I don't know that I'm gonna. So there's one right there, and this is actually number, got it all over me. Gotta make sure I get all the stuff off before I touch the drawers. This is actually number 6 out of 9. So technically that was number 7, this is number 8, and I got one more left. So this is the color, this is the American walnut. That's what the gel stain looks like. It's not, you see, it's not a liquid, it's a gel, right? So that's the color of that. This was the color of the one that I tried out at the store. It was not that color. Now I'll show you a side by side when we're done with these last 2 drawers we got here. We're gonna go ahead and get all the remaining stain off these rags. Just get it wiped in here, and we'll get some more. Yeah, but that's just such a pretty color, and it's gonna look real good with that black that we painted that dresser. That's why I was a little upset when I rubbed the other stain on the dresser, or on the drawer front, and it was not a good color to match. It's not what I was going for. So luckily I had some of this laying around from the last one we did that we used stain. This is just a really good color, it's a really kind of light dark color. I like it a lot. So we gotta get these edges all stained up. Remember, if you didn't watch the 3rd video where we did the dresser with the stained top and the painted body, if you're using stain, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna want to use an old t-shirt. You can get rags, you can get microfiber cloths, you can use paper towels, you can use any of that stuff, but they'd all leave behind a little bit of lint, and the lint is not what you want when you're doing this stuff, because you're gonna see it. So use an old t-shirt, shredded up t-shirt, just cut it in a bunch of little pieces, and then use that. And they also sell it, like if you go to a dedicated paint store like a Sherwin or a Benjamin Moore, stuff like that, they sell rags, right? So they sell already cut up t-shirts and bags, and then they also have a product called Box of Rags. That's kind of the same thing. It's really just paper towels, but they're thicker, and I don't know that I would use them for this. But I do know for sure at Benjamin Moore they do have legit boxes, like 5-pound boxes full of shredded up t-shirts, and they just get donation clothes and throw them in a shredder and throw them in a bag and send them your way. I don't know that they wash them 9 times out of 10, but we opened a bag one day. I was trying to get a stain match for some work stuff, and they had me run up to the front, get a box, and we opened it up to see to get a shirt out of it so we could use it for doing this. And it was a pair of ladies' underwear, the skimpy kind. So they didn't look clean. They looked like they already had some stain in them, if you know what I mean. So you never know what you're gonna get. Life is like a box of chocolates or shredded up T-shirts from the paint store. Never know what you're gonna get. So that's what I would use. I would use an old T-shirt. Get you a box of something or other. You can get you a box of rags, maybe. I don't know. I can't honestly say that I would use that product, just because it is still like a paper towel kind of deal. But if you want to go to like Goodwill and spend $2-3 on a couple shirts, or the Salvation Army or something like that, you want to go spend a couple bucks on some junk T-shirts, just bring them to the house and cut them up with scissors, knives, anything. Just cut them all up and make you some rags. It's good to go. In fact, when I was a kid, my dad was the family mechanic, just like I'm the family mechanic now. He had rags everywhere. Those were his grease rags and sweat rags. Okay, now let me show you what we're up against. So this is the color. This is the natural walnut. This is the one that we just did all the rest of the drawers in. This is the one that I did the tester to see if I like that. And this is the American walnut that I stained first that I did not like. Look at that color difference. That is night and day. And when you're putting it in a dark dresser, that's going to be too dark, especially with black hardware. The black hardware will look nice on that, and it's a nice contrast from the dark. So I'm going to let these set up tonight, and then we're going to put everything in to the body of the dresser tomorrow, and we'll put on the hardware, and we're there, man. We're done. Another thing I wanted to show you was how to dispose of, or how to get ready to dispose of your rags that are soaked in stain. So you see how bad these are. They got big old gobs of stain on them. Stain is an oil-based product, and if I would have left all 4 of these rags just crumpled up together, threw them in a trash can, threw them on the floor, there's a pretty good chance if the conditions are right, it gets hot enough in here, inside the shop, whatever, that these could spontaneously combust. So you need to dry them out first. You need to air them out first before you throw them away properly. What I like to do is I like to just get all the rags together, get them wet, get them nice and soaking wet, wring them out a couple times, get them wet, wring them out, I like to get them dripping wet, wring them out, hang them up on the rungs of a ladder and let them just air dry like this, because what happens is as that stain dries, it actually heats up. So if you have all these rags stacked together and it's already heating up and then it's hot, you don't have any airflow, anything like that, they'll combust and they'll catch on fire. So I like to get them wet and just let them air dry over this, okay? Just on the back of a ladder. Tomorrow, they'll be dry, they'll be fine, you can throw them away, you don't have to worry about it. You just want to make sure that while that stain is drying, it stays cool. Because that stain heats up while it's drying, you got fires. So once that's dry tomorrow, maybe the next day, whenever, just throw it away, you're fine. We're done. I got the last drawer sanded down, got the wrong color off of it, as you remember seeing last night. It's got everything done, got everything sanded off of it, got the stain on there, got the clear on top of the stain, got all the hardware on except for that one drawer. We're going to do it together, and it's the last one, and then this thing's moving in the house and we're staging it up tonight. Here it is. Now if you remember what it looked like when we first started, it was all the same color. It was like a cherry color, a red kind of real thick lacquer that was on there, and this now is completely different. There's nothing even remotely close to what it used to look like, and I think it looks 10 times as better as the last one, so it just goes to prove with a little bit of elbow grease, get a lot of elbow grease, with a lot of elbow grease you can take these things from being
You know, something somebody's gonna let go for 40, 50 bucks to something that you can flip for $300-400. You know what I mean? A lot factors into what you're gonna price it at. Obviously, the amount of work that we had to do, y'all didn't have to see the whole thing getting done, but the amount of work we had to do with the drawers to get all that stuff stripped off, get down to bare wood, so we could even do this, was brutal, you know? And then getting sick in the middle of it, that didn't help, but I'm not gonna pass that along. But the paint, the black paint, black, a very basic color. It's not a very basic color when you go to buy it. You know, the original color that I was gonna get turned out it was blue. We don't want blue, we want black. So you have to play around and kind of figure out what you want to do color wise here, because you know the original color that we were gonna go with would not look this good. I am really over the moon about this one. There's two of them that I've done completely, start to finish, that I'm really sad to see go. And I think that's video number 4. That's the blue dresser with the gold feet. Drawers, kind of the same thing, where we took all the varnish off of those and just cleared them into that color they were. That one, really sad to see that one go, but I'm really happy somebody's enjoying it. And I'm really gonna be sad to see this one go. This one's gorgeous. I just don't have anywhere in my house to put it. And if I do come across another one that's a little smaller, maybe a chest of drawers, I'm gonna do it the same exact way. And I'm keeping that one. I'm gonna put that one in my closet. So for me and my family, thank you for coming along with this and coming along with me and watching me do this, and I hope it inspired you to do it as well. Well, thank you for coming, and thank you for watching another Refurbished Revivals.